Good morning. I'll be reading into your hearing from Exodus chapter 3, verses 7 through 9. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cries because of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, so I have come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from the land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppressed them. If I had to say anything this morning, I would say, what does it matter? It is clear to see that God has heard the plea of his people while being in the land of Egypt. And God has heard their cries and felt their sorrows. Today, God hears another cry from his people where oppression has taken hold once again. In America, African Americans and other indigenous people of color have suffered the atrocities of tyranny. What does it matter when America does not hear or react to the cries of people with the atrocities of racism, sexism, classism, politicism, and every other kind of ism in America today? Over 250 years ago, America fought for its independence from being under tyranny of its oppressors, giving them the right to freedom with the Declaration of Independence, which states, "We the people, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinion of humankind acquires that they should declare the causes which impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that humankind is more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. What does it matter in America? It is in this matter that America must change its language and its imagery of how America sees African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos, Latinx, and other indigenous people of color. The pursuit of happiness is life and liberty to all people who are created equally and who are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. The life and liberty to pursue happiness should be construed as the foundational pursuit for happiness for equal persons. It should not entail laws as fugitive slave laws of 1850 or laws such as Dred Scott decision of 1857, where black men had no rights that a white man was bound to respect. This proclamation excluded black people from exercising the rights promised to participate in a social contrast. America does not need to be made great again. America is already great. It is in the language of America and the imagery of America that we must change. It is in how America sees us and how America feels about us. It is in clauses such as we're not being 3/5 of a person, that we are not human beings, but we are considered less in America. When the alienated rights of the indigenous and marginalized are discriminated against with such atrocities, when you use race and religion and politics as a pursuit of happiness, you misrepresent what happiness truly is. When the system of patriarchy has used politics to write laws and abolish indigenous people's freedom to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In America, there wasn't any moral concept for the welfare of people of color in the Constitution or the Declaration of America. Happiness in America today is too often dependent on the powerful maintaining a competitive advantage over the powerless. So what does it mean to be in America today? What does it matter? It matters in the context that we as people have to remove the false imagery of America when it comes to people of color, where all can find happiness in the pursuit of life and liberty. What does it matter in America when happiness is not marked by the enjoyment of hegemonic privilege that is justified by faith or providence? Therefore, happiness in America is associated with the moral assurance that one deserves what one has. To find happiness, perhaps what is needed is a national conversation about happiness, not an attempt to fantasize about having more, but a consideration of what makes us happy as a nation and humanity. What happens in America is that we have to become one nation, not a divided nation. The pursuit of happiness shouldn't be built around the pursuit of patriarchy, but the unalienable rights of life and liberty through the Creator. That all human beings are created in the image of God, and all are the children of God, regardless of race, creed, or color. Scripture says, "Then God said, let us make humankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Them is a plural for all. It doesn't mean separation. It doesn't mean being apart. It means being one of. It is in the American language where America must change. When America can change its language, then the image of America will change. Then and only then will America be able to see people of color as human beings and unalienable. It is in freeing one's mind that the blindfolds of justice can be removed. No longer can we stand by and allow America to be blind to the tyranny of oppression and racial prejudice. What God requires of you is to act justly and to love mercifully and to walk humbly with your God. What does this mean? Well, God says that justice means to make right. Justice is first and foremost a relational term of people living in right relationship with God, one another, and the natural creation. As God is just and loving, so we are called to do justice and to live in love. We must love one another as Christ has loved us. Righteousness and justice are the foundations of your throne. Steadfast love and faithfulness goes before you. God is just. It is part of his character, which means he is also just. He cannot be unjust, and he defines and sets the standards for justice. In God we trust. Justice for many people refers to fairness, but while justice is important to almost everyone, it means different things to different groups. For instance, social justice is the notion that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social opportunities, irrespective of race, gender, or religion. The scripture says, learn to do good, seek justice, bring justice to the fatherless, and please the widow's cause. It also says, he has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. It is in this season and in this day that we celebrate fathers all over the world. But as we look back on the atrocities of America, how many fathers' lives have been taken from this day? How many families, children, mothers, aunts, uncles, brothers have grieved before this day. I would like to say to you this morning, for the families and the loved ones who have suffered from the atrocities in which America has set by and allowed, rest assured change is coming. A united people with a united voice must rise from all of the oppression and never allow it to rear its ugly head again. We must form together and become one nation under God. And in this, I will say to you, as one nation under God, indivisible, for the Lord our God shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel and America today. Thus saith the Lord. Happy Father's Day to you. This is a voice in the wilderness. May God bless you and may God keep you. Shalom.